The Seasons of Life by Wesley Cragen. Season 1, Episode 2. Teddy is taken to task. Chapter 1. Summer, 1993. It was summertime. The sun was out, the air was hot, and swarms of mosquitoes and other bugs were dancing in the afternoon air. In the Cohen home, both Teddy and Elaine were very busy. It was now 4 p.m., and in just 1 hour, Elaine's best friend Alicia and her husband Dan would be coming over for supper. The house had to be cleaned before then, and both Elaine and Teddy were very busy getting things organized. Elaine had been busy vacuuming the living room carpet, while Teddy picked up toys and other objects lying around the floor. Elaine was about halfway finished vacuuming when suddenly a loud, ear-piercing cry rang out from the bedroom of the Cohen's twin babies, Aaron and Lillian. "Oh shoot," said Elaine as she switched off the power to the vacuum. "This noisy thing probably woke the kids up. They'll be hungry by now, too. Teddy, I'm going to feed the babies. Can you finish vacuuming for me, please?" Teddy was bending over, picking up a stray penny from the carpet when she said this. Straightening up, he looked around and blinked. What?" he said. "What did you say, honey?" But Elaine had already gone to the baby's room and was out of earshot. Looking around, Teddy noticed the uneven vacuum marks on the floor. Then it dawned on him. "Oh," he said to himself, "she wanted me to finish vacuuming the floor. I don't think I feel like it right now. She can do it herself when she comes back." After picking up the last object from the floor, he settled himself down into one of the recliners in the living room and closed his eyes to rest. Soon he began to drift off to sleep. He wasn't sure how long he had been sleeping when Elaine's voice woke him up. "Teddy, what are you doing? I thought I asked you to finish vacuuming the carpet." Teddy yawned and rubbed the back of his neck casually. "I didn't feel like it," he explained. "I figured you could do it when you got back in here. I've done everything else that I need to do." Elaine glared at him angrily. "Teddy, we have guests coming," she said. "We haven't even set the table yet. There are still things to do, and I can't do them all by myself and feed the kids at the same time. You have to help me." Teddy pulled himself slowly out of the recliner and stood up. Okay, he whined. "I'll help you, for goodness sake." "I'm going to set the table while you vacuum," said Elaine. "All right," Teddy agreed as he gripped the vacuum handle. "By the way, how are the kids doing?" "I just fed them and put them back in their crib," she explained as she made her way to the dining room. "They're still awake, but they're being quiet. Now hurry and finish the carpet." Chapter 2. The house was clean and the table was set with glass bowls, spoons, and napkins when the doorbell rang an hour later. Teddy and Elaine went to answer it at the same time. Upon seeing Elaine, Alicia greeted her with an excited "Hey girl" and a big hug, while Dan greeted Teddy with a firm handshake. As soon as the guest came in and closed the door behind them, Elaine announced that supper was ready and that they didn't need to wait to be seated. As Dan and Alicia took their seats, Elaine put on a pair of oven mitts and carried a large pot of cheesy potato soup over to the table and began ladling it out into the guest bowls. She had just finished pouring soup into Dan's bowl when she noticed that Teddy was sitting down at the table. Teddy, we still need someone to help pour drinks," she reminded him. "Oh, sorry," he muttered as he got up, looking clearly annoyed. "I forgot." "What would you guys like to drink?" Elaine asked. "We have water, lemonade, tea, and pop." "I'll just take some water with ice, please," said Alicia. "What kind of pop y'all got?" asked Dan. "Root beer, cola, orange, and grape," said Teddy as he filled their glasses with ice from a tray. "I'll take cola," Dan said. After the drinks were poured, Elaine and Teddy could finally sit down. The four friends talked and chatted together as they ate. "So, where are the babies?" asked Alicia before blowing on a spoonful of hot soup. "I would love to see them." "They're lying down in their cribs right now, but they're awake," said Elaine. "If you want to hold them, I can go get them after we eat." "Oh yeah," smiled Alicia. "I can't wait. They're so adorable." "Oh, that reminds me," said Elaine, her face lighting up. "Me and Teddy have been talking about this, and we've decided that we're going to call Lillian Lily for short. What do you think?" "I think it's precious," said Alicia, wiping soup from her mouth with a napkin. "Lily. Oh, it just sounds so good saying it out loud." "So, what have you been up to?" Teddy asked Dan as he stirred his soup idly. "I just got a new job at the warehouse downtown," Dan answered. There's a lot of safety hazards, but the pay is pretty decent. What about you? Still working at the office, as always, Teddy replied. Of course, I'm the only one with a job around here nowadays. Elaine was driving a taxi, but she had to quit to take care of the kids full time. Really? Asked Alicia, wide-eyed. That's terrible. I hope you guys are still making ends meet. Elaine dismissed this remark with a smile and a wave of her hand. Oh, we're doing fine, trust me. Teddy works at a pretty prestigious office building that's known for how well it pays its employee. She was suddenly cut off by both of the babies crying. Oh, sorry, she said, looking embarrassed. I just fed them earlier. Their diapers probably need to be changed now. Teddy, do you mind? Teddy gave her a confused look. Do I mind what? He asked. She looked back at him reproachfully. Do you mind changing the babies? Teddy's mouth hung open for a brief moment. But why don't you do it? He asked her. Honey, I've done most of the work with the kids lately, she said. You haven't helped bathe, feed, or change them for the last 3 days, so I would appreciate it if you could go take care of them while I keep Dan and Alicia company. After a moment's awkward silence, Teddy replied with one word. No. Elaine's eyes got rounder than Teddy had ever seen them. Excuse me, she said. Look, said Teddy, you're pretty good at taking care of kids, but I'm more skilled at socializing. Why don't we just both stick to what we're good at? I can stay here and keep them company while you go and change the kids. Both Dan and Alicia had been very silent. They were beginning to feel somewhat awkward listening to this argument, and they dared not get involved. Finally, Elaine stood up and went to change the babies, but not without first giving Teddy a very significant glare. Chapter 3. Shortly after coming back from the baby's room, Elaine found all of the bowls empty and began to stack them. As she took them to the kitchen counter and opened the dishwasher to put them in, she offered more food to her guests. Dan, Alicia, are you guys still hungry? There's plenty more soup. Oh, no thank you, said Alicia. I'm pretty full. What about dessert? Elaine added. We've got cheesecake in the fridge. Maybe later, said Dan with a smile. Yeah, maybe later, agreed Alicia. I think we need to let the soup settle first. After placing the last bowl in the dishwasher, Elaine turned around and rubbed her hands together excitedly. All right, she said, who wants to see the kiddos? Oh yes, can we? Said Alicia eagerly as she rose from the table. Absolutely, said Elaine. Just come in here in the living room if you don't mind. Teddy and the two guests went in the living room, Teddy settling himself down into his recliner, while Dan and Alicia made themselves comfortable on the sofa. Elaine caught Teddy's eye briefly. What is it, hon? He asked. I have 2 babies to fetch, remember, she answered. Do you think you could give me a hand? He shrugged his shoulders impatiently. Just carry one in each arm. I think, honey, she said coldly, that it would be easier for each of us to carry one. Babe, come on, he said. It's literally just a few feet to their room. I know you can carry both of them yourself. Besides, I helped clean up earlier, so I think I've done enough today. Elaine looked at him blankly. Whatever, she said. I wouldn't want to work you to death. She left and came back a moment later, carrying each baby in a car seat, holding one car seat in each hand. It was a good thing she had only to take a few steps before putting them on the floor, as they were both beginning to feel heavy very quickly. Alicia beamed down at the chubby boy in the blue onesie and the rosy-cheeked girl in the purple onesie. Oh, my word, they're beautiful, she said. Can I hold them? Of course, said Elaine. Which one do you want to hold first? Can I hold Lily? She asked. Here you go, said Elaine, picking up the fat, purple, squeaking bundle and handing it to Alicia. Dan and Alicia took turns holding and playing with Aaron and Lily, kissing them, tickling them, and making silly faces to get them to laugh. After a few minutes, the babies began to grow restless and tired of the 2 strangers. They were beginning to cry when Dan and Alicia gave them back to their parents. With Teddy holding Aaron and Elaine holding Lily, the 4 friends began to chat and converse some more. After a while, Elaine again offered the guests dessert, which they accepted. And shortly after finishing the cheesecake, they said their goodbyes and went home. It was now around 7 p.m. Elaine had again fed the twins and put them back to bed. Afterward, she went in the kitchen and cleaned off whatever napkins, utensils, and soup spills remained on the table. She was about to wipe off the stove next when Teddy walked into the kitchen. "Hey, honey," he said, yawning and stretching. "I know it's late, but I'm kind of feeling in the mood for some coffee. Do you mind making me a pot of decaf?" Elaine turned on him so suddenly that he was almost frightened. "No," she hissed. "No, no, 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 no. I am not making you anything. If you want some coffee, you can very well make it yourself." Teddy's mouth hung open in shock. "What was that about?" he asked. "What did I do?" "Why are you suddenly so lazy?" Elaine shot at him. "The past 4 days you haven't lifted a finger to help with anything in this house. So you picked some stuff up off the floor today. Big deal. I have bathed, clothed, and changed the kids by myself. I set the table and did the dishes by myself. I'm even in here cleaning the kitchen by myself. And instead of even thinking that maybe you could help out, the first thing that occurs to you is to ask me to make you coffee. Well, you know what? I've had enough of it." She stormed out of the kitchen crying and went straight back to the bedroom, closing the door so hard that Teddy thought the babies might wake up again. Oddly enough, they remained asleep, and the only sound in the whole house was the sound of Elaine's sobs. Chapter 4. The next day, while Teddy was at work and the kids were taking their afternoon nap, Elaine sat on the sofa watching the Weather Channel on TV. As the anchorman's voice droned on and on about the sun, clouds, and sky, she found she wasn't really listening. She was simply staring blankly at the screen, too tired, overworked, angry, and depressed to care about anything, least of all the weather. Her trance-like state was interrupted when the doorbell rang. Lifting the remote to the sensor on the TV, she clicked it off. When she got up and answered the door, she found her mother Ruth standing outside. "Oh, hi, Mama," she said glumly. "Come in." Ruth came inside and was immediately offered a glass of water by Elaine, which she accepted. Elaine then invited her mother to sit down on the couch next to her. "So what brings you over?" Elaine asked. "Oh, you know," smiled Ruth as she held her water to her lips. "I just thought I would come over and see those little grandmunchkins of mine. Are they sleeping?" "Yes, they are," said Elaine regretfully. "I just put them down for their nap a few minutes ago. I'm so sorry." Ruth's look suddenly became one of concern. "Are you feeling okay?" she asked her daughter. "You seem a little down." Elaine put her hand on her head and closed her eyes, trying to fight back tears. "It's just Teddy," she said. "He's been really difficult lately." "What do you mean?" said Ruth, placing her water glass on a coffee table next to the couch. "It's just, our lives have been really busy lately with the kids and all," explained Elaine, "and I've been having to carry most of the burden by myself. Just yesterday we had company over, and I had to handle the preparations and the cleaning all by myself. I even asked him to help me, and he told me no." Ruth began to look angry. "Have you confronted him about it?" she asked. "Yes, Mom," said Elaine. "I even got really mad at him to his face. He just acted like he didn't know what he did wrong." "Listen to me," said Ruth intensely. "I know what goes on in your marriage is between you and your husband, and I respect your privacy. But if it's an emergency and you really need some outside help, I'm right here for you, baby. If you want me to, I'll even talk to him for you." Elaine wiped a tear from her eye. "Oh, Mom, would you?" she pleaded. "He just won't listen to me. Maybe he'll listen to you." "I don't know if he'll listen to me or not," said Ruth, "but I'm sure gonna give it a try." Chapter 5. That evening, when Teddy got home, he was greeted by not only his wife and now awake children, but his mother-in-law as well. Seeing Ruth sitting on the living room sofa as soon as he entered, he waved and smiled. "Oh, hi, Mom, how's it going?" Ruth just sat there, holding Aaron while Elaine held Lily. They both looked at Teddy blankly. Neither said anything. Teddy scowled at their strange behavior. "Is everything okay, you guys?" "Theodore, could I talk with you in the kitchen?" said Ruth. "Yeah, sure," he answered. "What's wrong?" Ruth placed Aaron gently back into his car seat on the floor. Then, rising from the sofa, she beckoned Teddy into the kitchen. There, standing next to the stove, Ruth wasted no time getting to the point. "Theodore, Elaine was telling me today that you haven't really been sharing any responsibilities with her. She says you've been making her do most of the work around here by herself." Teddy looked suddenly taken aback. "Mom, with all due respect," he said, "I'm not sure why this is your business." "Oh, it's not," Ruth answered. "I know you and Elaine are adults, and you can work out your own problems, but here's the thing. Elaine doesn't know what to do. She told me she confronted you about this, but she couldn't get through to you. So seeing as she's at a loss as to what to do, I thought I'd step in and help her." Teddy hesitated, thinking of something to say. Finally he spoke. "Look, Mom, I really don't know what Elaine is talking about. I've not done anything to her recently. I've not been lazy or neglectful. She's imagining things." "Imagining things?" said Ruth, her tone rising. "Imagining things? Young man, when we women tell you menfolk that something's wrong, then something's wrong. I've known my daughter a lot longer than you have, and trust me, she don't just imagine things." Teddy frowned in irritation. "Look, Mom, I'm telling you, I haven't been acting the way she says I've been acting. I haven't been lazy at all." Ruth folded her arms and smirked slightly. "Son, you must think denial is a river in Egypt." "What are you talking about?" asked Teddy, exasperated. "Tell me," said Ruth, "is it not true that when you and Elaine had company the other night that you didn't help with vacuuming the carpet, setting the table, doing the dishes, or taking care of the young'uns when they woke up and got to crying?" Teddy looked defensive but defeated at the same time. Finally he began to relent. "No, you're right, Mom. All of that stuff is true, but I did help out a little. I picked up the baby's toys off the floor." "That's it?" said Ruth, clearly unimpressed. Teddy threw his hands up. "All right, Mom, maybe I have gotten a little soft lately with the household chores, but like we established at the beginning of this conversation, that's between me and Elaine. Why don't you just let us sort it out between ourselves?" "Here's why," said Ruth, now looking quite fierce. "Because even though that young woman in there is yours by marriage, I still carried her, I still birthed her, and I still raised her, and I love her like she's part of my very soul. I care about the way my baby is treated, and when she was a youngin', there was 3 kinds of men I vowed I would never let her marry. A drunk, a cheater, and a lazy bum who won't work. Now I'm starting to think I let her marry one of them after all." Teddy just stood there, speechless and stunned, as Ruth stormed out of the kitchen. He could think of nothing to say, and he knew deep down that he had no defense. Everything his mother-in-law had just said was right. Chapter 6. Shortly after her conversation with Teddy, Ruth said goodbye to Elaine and went back home. When she was gone, Teddy stepped into the living room where Aaron and Lily were now both lying in their car seats on the floor. Elaine was still seated on the couch, leaning on the armrest with her head supported by her hand. Teddy rubbed the back of his neck timidly as he tried to make things right. "Hey, babe," he said, "your mom just told me what you told her. You know about our problems recently, and I was thinking, y'all are right." A gleam of relief appeared in Elaine's eyes. "Go on," she said. "Well," Teddy continued, "I was thinking maybe we could have Dan and Alicia back over soon, and I could prove to you that I'm willing to help out. I'll help with the dishes, the vacuuming, anything you want. I guess what I'm saying is, I'm really sorry for all the burdens I've put on you. I'm gonna really start pulling my weight from now on. Do you believe me?" Elaine smiled. "Yes, I believe you, honey, but remember, it's not just when we have company that you should be helping out. It's all the time." "Oh, I know," said Teddy, "and from now on, I'm gonna be helping out around here, all the time." Elaine stood up from the sofa and embraced her husband. "I love you, Teddy." Teddy kissed her forehead affectionately. "I love you too, babe." Chapter 7. The following Friday evening, the twin babies were asleep, but Teddy and Elaine were busy entertaining their company in the kitchen. Not only had the Cohens invited Dan and Alicia over for an evening snack and conversation, but Ruth had been invited as well. After the guest had scooped up the last bit of cheesecake from their plates, both Teddy and Elaine walked around the table picking up dishes and bringing them to the dishwasher. "Don't worry about the milk glasses," Teddy whispered to Elaine as they were both bent over the dishwasher, loading it. "I'll get them." Ruth, Dan, and Alicia all washed down their cheesecake with a glass of milk. Shortly thereafter, each glass was collected and put away by Teddy. "All right, everybody," said Elaine. "Do y'all want to go in the living room and relax a bit before you go home?" "Sure thing," said Dan. "Absolutely," said Alicia. "Why not?" chirped up Ruth. "Y'all go ahead and make yourselves comfortable in there," said Elaine as the 3 guests got up from their chairs. "I'll be right there after I wipe down the table." But as soon as Elaine turned to retrieve a cleaning rag from her kitchen drawer, she noticed Teddy already soaking one with warm water from the sink. Smiling, he turned to her and said, "You go ahead in the living room, honey. I've got the table." Elaine smiled back. "Thanks, sweetie," she said with a look of genuine happiness. Teddy took the rag over to the kitchen table and began wiping, and while he was wiping, he saw the face of his mother-in-law appear from the living room, looking through the door at him. Looking up from his chore, he saw her smile. "I'm proud of you, son," she said. "I really am." Thank you for watching.